So I am literally going to build one of my Lean On Laurel students, her strategy to get 9 coaching clients into her high ticket program by April of 2022. And I posted this on my Facebook profile. I also posted it on my business page. And the response is, well, a lot of you guys want to see me do this. And so this morning I grabbed my cup of coffee and the notes that I have from one of the calls with my Lean On Laurel students. And so I'm literally going to build this from scratch. And I'm going to show you guys the process that I actually use in order to do this. Okay. So this is going to be totally off the cuff. The only pre-work that I've done is I'm going to tear this out so that I can easily see this. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take the notes that I took on that call, and we are going to put together an entire strategy. We're going to do an organic strategy. I'm also going to put together a paid ad strategy, and I'm going to show you guys how what we do in Lean On Laurel basically simplifies what you're going to do for your marketing. I always tell my students, it's like you could spend hundreds of hours doing marketing very sporadically, not knowing exactly what results you're getting, or you can put together a solid plan. That way, you know how much time it's going to take you every single day, what you should be seeing at the end of every week. And then as they're going, we are taking things into the calls in Lean On Laurel and taking a look, well, why didn't that 2-step work? Or why didn't this messenger conversation work, right? We're looking at the entire marketing plan. It's not just about ads. So we're going to actually get started just so that you guys can see what we actually do inside the program when we are building out our strategies, okay? So we are starting from scratch, okay? And one of the things that my mentor is really, really good at is helping us solve problems, but having a solvable problem. Okay. We're not just solving problems, we're able to create solvable problems. And in order to get to that, we actually do something that they refer to as case. We collect, I audit, we strategize, and then we execute. And so what I already did was collect. And so you guys are going to see me as I'm going to audit the pieces of our solvable problem. And you guys are going to see how I'm going to put it into a strategy that my student can execute. So collect, audit. Some people say analyze. That's fine too. I like audit because that's what I specifically do. Strategize and then execute. Okay. And what happens a lot of times is so many of you guys are executing before you're doing any of this other stuff. So what we're actually going to do is now, right? So I've got all of her assets collected. Now, what I mean by assets, okay? Let me unshare this really quick, okay? So what I mean by her assets that we're going through right here is she's got a mini webinar. So these are all of the things that we could use to build her strategy. So she's got a mini webinar. She's got $3,000 in ad spend that she can now, whenever I tell people, how much ad spend do you have? We oftentimes tell people, how much money could you put into a bag and just throw it in the backyard and light it on fire and not ever get it back? That's what we call ad spend money. So she's got about $3,000. Which is okay, like that we can do so, and you're going to see how I actually build out that strategy. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to build her an organic and paid ad strategy. She's got an engaged audience on her Facebook profile. She's got 0 people on an email list. So what we'll actually do is we will actually go back here And so what I'm actually going to do is I'll just share as we're doing these assets, I think, just so that you guys can actually see what we're doing. Okay. So her assets are, she's got a mini webinar. She's got $3K to spend. She's got an engaged audience on Facebook, 0 on email list. She doesn't have a Facebook group. And she has about 22 colleagues who have her audience and would collaborate. A lot of times people don't think of this as an asset. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take these assets. Now, for everyone, this is going to be different, right? Because like the strategies that I'm going to build for her, if she had people on an email list, I would probably do things a little different, but I'm going to actually walk you through each of this stuff. Okay. So I think that's all of colleagues who have our audience. Okay. So anytime that I'm building these, what I'm looking for are solvable problems. Okay. So her goal, let's go over the goals. So her goal is to get 9 clients, and her offer is $7,000. So 9 clients equals $63,000. Okay. And so dates January through April 2022. So by April, right? So this is really going to be by March, right? Into March. By April 1st, she wants to have enrolled 9 clients at $7,000 a piece, and probably $63,000 in Q1. That's pretty significant. That's a lot of money to a lot of people, right? Who are just starting out. Like a lot of people right now who still have 9-to-5 jobs don't even make that much money. So that's pretty cool. So what we know right now, these are her assets. This is her goal. Now it's my job to help my students find solvable problems. And this is what we do. We have on Tuesdays, it's called Strategy Mastermind, and we dig deep into this exercise of what I'm doing right now. We dive into it we do 2 Tuesdays a month. It's not every Tuesday, 2 Tuesdays a month. We dive into strategy. And so you guys are going to see the entire process of everything that I go through with my students in order to find these solvable problems. So if she got people on the phone, she says, now this is a good guesstimate, 20% close rate, meaning, she can close 1 out of 5 people over the phone. That's how she's going to be selling this offer. Now, she's never sold this offer, but she has sold other offers. They weren't they weren't very successful. So that's why she is going to try this new offer, and we'll see if we can help her get better results with this one. So she's pretty confident that she can close 1 out of 5 people over the phone, which is, we almost kind of like to say worst case scenario. But I have seen people do worse. And when she talks to people on Messenger, she can get 1 for every 6 to 7 conversations to book the call. Okay. And so she's got an engaged audience on Facebook. She has colleagues, and she has $3,000 in ads to spend. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to create solvable problems. Okay. And you guys are going to see how this is actually going to shape up. Okay. So we've got organic strategy. So our strategy, let's see, strategy number 1 is going to be, let's see. So she's got an engaged audience on Facebook. So solvable problem is how many posts, how many two-step posts does it take to get? So if she closes, okay, now this is where we get to do some math. If she can, this is where we have, so solve the problem is how many two steps does it take to get someone over the phone? Okay. Get her goal number off onto the phone, her goal number on the phone. Okay. We have a solvable problem here, right? So so strategy number 1 is going to be organic 2 steps, right? So if you're in my 7L program, you're probably very, very familiar with my organic 2-step formula. As a matter of fact, I do them a lot on my profile. I didn't do a 2-step here. So a 2-step would be if after I do this video, go and comment and then move you guys to Messenger. I'm not going to do that, but that would be what a 2-step post is like, here, who wants to see this? And there's a very specific science to it. And there's a reason that I didn't turn this post right here into a 2-step. There's a reason behind that. And for my students, they understand why I'm doing this, but all you need to know are 2 steps are ways to have conversations with people, because the fastest way to cash is through a conversation, right? And think about this. How many people want to get booked phone calls, or they want to sell their high ticket offer? What do you think would be faster? Me having a conversation, you seeing a piece of content on my page, raising your hand saying, yes, I want that, me and you talking in Messenger, and then me pulling you over the phone, or running ads to a webinar, getting you to go through the funnel, blah, blah, blah. Which do you think is going to build credibility and authority faster and get you faster to that conversation with me, right? We can create, but here's where you're going to see where the strategy right here may not be the best solution for some of you guys. You guys might not have the time. You guys might have more money than time, okay? So strategy number 1, but we still have to figure out how many 2 steps does it take to get her goal number on the phone, okay? So in order to do that, right, we need to know how many comments does she need? How many comments will she get per post? How many of those comments turn to Messenger conversations? How many of those Messenger conversations turn to booked calls? And then how many of those calls turn to sales, right? So think about this. If she didn't have any ad spend and she didn't have colleagues, this would be like what she would need to do for 90 days. Because think about this. If you executed, right, which this is going to be the tactic that she's going to use, Laurel's client accelerator 2-step. And that's all she's going to focus on for 90 days. And so now that we know this, let's get her solvable problem. Okay. Now, I know a lot of you guys right now, there's a lot of people that have already ditched this video. They're like, oh, this is like blah, blah, blah. But those of you guys who are still watching, you're going to learn something really freaking cool here. And it's going to simplify your marketing. I promise you this year, because think about this. If you knew how many 2-step posts do you need to do in the next 90 days that's going to generate the traffic in order to reach this goal, you don't have to do anything else. Like so many people are like, I got to do podcasts. I got to do all of this. But if you have this solvable problem and you spent the entire 90 days doing only this one thing, it just becomes a repeatable process, right? And that's what a lot of people don't understand. So strategy number one, organic 2 steps, right? Now, what we need to figure out is what is that solvable problem, okay? There's a solvable problem here, so check this out, okay? So the solvable problem is how many 2-step posts does it take to get her goal number on the phone? We do not know this, but we do know what her goal number is, okay? So the goal would be that we're going to be solving for is she says she can close 1 in 5, okay? And if she needs to sell 9, right? 9 times 5 would be 45 calls, right? If she closed 1 every 5, that'd be 9, and she would get to her goal. So she knows she has to book 45 calls. Now, what we don't know, right, is actually we do, right? Because she said she can get 1 for every 6 to 7 conversations to book a call. Okay, so that's another, right? So this was our first number that we're using for that solvable problem. And she can get 6 to 7 conversations to book a call. Right, so 6 to 7 conversations, okay? So let's get a calculator out, right? Okay, so let's just say 7 conversations. Every 7 conversations lead to a call. So how many calls we need? 45, right? So if we go back to our calculator, 45 times 7 is 315. So she needs, so 45 calls is equal to, what did I say that was? Let's see. What was that? 45 times 7, 315. Messenger conversations, okay? So now she just needs to figure out, right? She already knows how many messenger conversations to book calls. So now she just needs to know how many comments am I going to get per post, and then how many of those comments turn into messenger conversations. Isn't that freaking cool? So now she knows that one of the ways that she can solve her problem is by having 315 messenger conversations, okay? So that's one of her solvable problems, right? Now, here's the thing. If she does this for 90 days, she's going to know exactly what this number is. And so now, next 90 days, she knows exactly these are the 2-step posts I need to do, and that's it. That'll get her to her goal. But she also has money to spend, because here's the thing, having 315 messenger conversations, you know, that's a lot. So let's see. I mean, when you break it down by the day, so if you're saying, you know, 315 messenger conversations divided by 3, that's 105 a month divided by 30. That's having 3 to 4 messenger conversations a day. That's it, right? So it's pretty cool. 3 to 4 messenger conversations a day will get her to this goal. Okay, so let's go to our next assets, right? Because I'm going to give her a paid ad strategy too, because the paid ad strategy is going to accelerate. It could accelerate. Now, here's something to know. This cost her $0 to execute, right? But it does cost her time. Some of you guys have more time or money. Some of you guys have a little of both. This person has a little of both. So what we're going to do is, okay, now the second one's going to be a little bit easy for us to create, okay? So her offer is in the personal development space. That's super, super important to know. Like the different types of spaces are going to have different costs, okay? So I'll show you guys how to do your solvable problem when it comes to Facebook ads. And we actually have a shortcut solution. Okay. So let me take a sip of coffee real quick. Okay. So strategy number 2 is going to be paid ads. And the solvable problem is, what is my cost per lead? Let's see, how many leads do I need in order to hit my goal? Okay. Now, something to keep in mind, right, is we already know she's got to book 45 calls. So now we just need to know, how many leads do I need in order to book 45 calls? Okay, so we've already done the math here, right? So solvable problem is, guess what? We already have that. Okay, so I have this calculator that me and my students like to use. And so she's in the personal development stage. So she has $3,000 to spend. Okay. Now in the personal development space, you're going to pay for a mini webinar. Mini webinars are some of the most expensive of the ad strategies. Mini webinars, challenges, anything that has like kind of like a bigger commitment. But what's really cool about mini webinars is they are designed to get the people who are actually ready to take action, right? She has not an educational marketing webinar. She has a sales presentation. Okay. So her cost per lead is going to be a little bit higher than, the average webinar, but it's going to bring in higher quality clients. Okay. So I'm assuming anything between $8 to $15 is what she's going to be paying. And so let's just go worst case scenario that she's getting lead cost at $15. And we're looking for 10% of the people to come in to book a call. Now, here's something to be aware of. Okay. Whenever I do this calculator, I always tell my students, if this number isn't 500, we won't have enough data. But this is what we could expect with the 3,000. We could end up booking a couple of calls, and she's going to start testing. Now, here's the thing, and follow me here, okay? This is adding risk, because this is not for sure, right? We can guesstimate and know our numbers to hit, right, in order to hit our goal. But if this does work out to where she can book 20 or so calls, that's going to get her halfway to this goal, so that instead of having 315 conversations over 90 days, maybe she only has to have, like 150. And so this is what we want to solve for. How many leads do I need to get in order to book calls? So let's say, though, let's play around with this, right? Let's say she does, have an average cost of $8. That's going to get her closer there, and she's going to get her more calls. But we don't know how this calculator exercise until she starts running ads. So that's why I'm going to put 15. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to screenshot this, because we know that this is going to be her solvable problem, and this is what she needs to hit. Okay. Now, here's some things to look for. And this is where a lot of people don't know how to optimize, right? So let's say her average CPL is 15. How do we get it? How do we optimize that down? Well, you guys know that I teach you guys a couple of numbers called CTR all, CTR link click through. Well, if she's getting $15 per lead, we would go into her ads manager and optimize her creative first and see, are they hitting the average click-through rate? Average click-through rate is 3%. If she's getting average cost per lead at $15 and her average click-through rate is only 2%, we know then we need to change her creative. If her average CTR click-through rate is 3%, but her click-through rate when it comes to link click-through is only like 0.5, then we know we need to change our ad copy. So those are some of the things that once we have these solvable problems, we know exactly what we're going to be doing on those calls in my program. And you could do the same. You don't have to join my program. I mean, you can. I would be more than happy to help you put this together. But so here's what she's actually going to do, right? So if after a month, she hasn't had, 100 something messenger conversations, then we need to go look in what kind of posts is she doing? What type of conversations is she having in Messenger? Those are the things that we talk about on the calls inside my Lean On Laurel program. A lot of times people will be like, well, I'm having Messenger conversations, but I'm not booking any calls. Okay, let's take a look at those Messenger conversations. Let's see what you're saying, how you're saying it. And, because most of the time, guys, and here's the thing, most of you guys have seen these strategies before. So many people teach this 2-step formula for thousands of dollars. I have it in my $7 program. But here's the thing, most people, this doesn't work because they don't know how to optimize, how to get comments, how to do the 2-step, how to have that messenger conversation. And so that's where my Lean On Laurel program comes in, because I was so tired of seeing people execute all of these strategies just half-assed. That's why they don't work. And so now my student, think about this, over the next 90 days, she's going to work on this, and then we're going to work on this, and we're going to have 2 solvable problems, because at the end, if she knows, right? Like if she knows, think about this. If she knows this is going to happen, and let's say, that we can get her down to like $5 a lead, right? That's 60 calls without her having to do this. And then she could just do that for fun. That's where I'm at. Like my solvable problem with ads, that's done. Now I have fun doing videos like this, like what you guys are watching right now. And that's how we simplify what I'm doing with my students, because we know exactly like how easy would this be if every single 90 days you're like, okay, I need this many messenger conversations. I need this. Oh, you know what? I didn't get these messenger conversations this week. Let me go talk to Laurel and see how I can improve my messenger conversations. That's the power of the collaboration that happens inside my Lean On Laurel program. If any of you guys are interested in that, I've shown you in this video, like everything like that we do, like, and you can see it's way more than ads. Like I'll give you a couple of scenarios here. Like if she had an email list here and she didn't have a lot of time to spend doing stuff, we would do a series. There's a couple of cash flow email sequences inside the program. I would have worked with her on email. If she had a Facebook group, we have a graduation formula. I probably would have done that instead of this 2-step. So there's different things. Like if someone doesn't have an engaged audience on Facebook, we would have went a completely different way. If she had a challenge, I probably would have went a slightly different way. But if she had a challenge, I probably would have designed this exactly the same. Now, one of the things that she can tap into, she's got 22 colleagues who have her audience and would collaborate. So if she wanted to, right, she could make a solvable problem out of this. As a matter of fact, like if you look at mine, I have a solvable problem here. Whereas if I go do a guest training in someone's like program or their Facebook group, I can get 3 out of every 10 people who attend to buy my $7 program, which buying a $7 program is much easier than, booking a call. But I just kind of wanted to get the juices flowing. Like this is literally how I sit down. And then once we have these strategies and tactics, we work together and implement them. And this is where a lot of people go wrong, is they don't do the foundational work, right? Like, check this out. This was the entire, like, remember at the beginning of this video, I said, we're going to do something called case, right? We're going to collect the data. That's what I did with the call. We're going to audit the assets. That's exactly what I did, right? I knew that we had a couple of solvable problems here. And then we just went ahead and we just knocked everything out. And like so many people spend like making their spreadsheets pretty. And I see that there's so many offers to help you guys do this, but it's like, it's so complicated. Like now we have this plan that we can use over and over again, because once she has, like, truth be told, once she has the solvable problem, it's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And then once we dial in our paid ad strategy, rinse and repeat, and that's it. Now you have to update your ads and all of that fun stuff, and I won't get into that, but this is how easy planning your next 90 days can be, but you have to be aware of solvable problems. And a lot of you guys know this kind of stuff so that you can actually create those solvable problems. So, but I'm gonna pitch you. That's okay. On live video here. That's okay. Let me know if that's okay. If you want me to help you do this process, I designed Lean on Laurel as a 90-day process. Some people stay longer because they just want to have me on speed dial for when things go wrong, and that's cool too. But I genuinely designed the Lean on Laurel program to be a 90-day program. But like I said, I have a lot of people who are in the program because they just want me on speed dial. They went through this 90-day process. It's rinse and repeat, but every along the way, sometimes they have bumps in the road. And so they're like, well, I'd rather just, have you on speed dial. So if you go to adswithlaurel.com/mentorship, you are going to see an application page, and you're going to have a video. Watch the video. Don't apply till you watch the video, because not everyone is a good fit for this program. You have to obviously have a couple of solvable problems. And a lot of you guys have solvable problems. You just need someone like me to help you figure out what they are and then put them into something that's executable. Okay. So hopefully a lot of you guys got a lot of value out of this. Like, look at this, like to get her goal. She's got 2 strategies here: client accelerator 2-step, 45 calls, 315 messenger conversations. Strategy number 2, these are the numbers that we need to hit inside the ads manager. These are the only 2 things that her and I are going to focus on for the next 90 days. Simplified marketing. Some of you guys are doing way, way, way too much. So hopefully you guys got a lot of value. If you got a lot of value out of this video and you are still watching, tell me your biggest takeaway that you got from watching this video. And for those of you guys who want to, apply for Lean on Laurel, I am looking forward to helping you solve this solvable problem for you. And I hope that you guys have an